So really excited to see this man in orange, Simon van Dorp, a sensational sculler, a sensational rower, and just a lovely man. He is on the right of your picture, sculling for Hollandia Row Club. And from Clydesdale Amateur Rowing Club, Ben Parsonage, the 29-year-old. What a fantastic privilege it is, and wow, he's right up there in the early stages. I think he might even be up on Simon van Dorp.
Yeah, I think he is, as they emerge from the end of the island there. We saw this morning in the Diamonds, the Greek sculler being led out to the end of the island as well. So often for these scullers who come through the qualifiers and face one of the big names in the early rounds, the game plan is just to take it out absolutely as hard as possible on the line and see what you can make happen, see if you can force a positive situation for yourself in the race. But seems to be holding the Dutchman in as they sort of settle into the rhythm. But I imagine the power of Simon van Dorp is...
Look, Van Dorp had a look there, didn't he? Like, you've got to put that on replay, like in future years, Ben Parsonages, when Simon van Dorp had to look over his right shoulder to see where you were, and he kind of thought, what is this Scotsman doing ahead of me? That is a fantastic shot. And Simon van Dorp just going through Ben Parsonage, such a heritage in his family. His dad raced the Diamonds, raced in the doubles with Balmer, losing to Brigden and Brigden in the early 70s. And it's lovely, the story of how Ben Parsonage's mum and dad met, George and Stephanie. Stephanie herself's an international rower, competed for Scotland. Stephanie capsized and George went in to rescue her, and it was love at first sight apparently in the water.
That's a fantastic story.
Love
fantastic
that, yeah.
story. So it's in the blood. The water's in the blood. His third time here at the regatta, or trying to qualify. The second time qualifying for the Diamonds, Ben Parsonage, and first in 2023. Missed out last year and back again here in the first round.
Simon van Dorp's had a fantastic season. He was in the Europeans as part of a Dutch quad. Earlier that in April, he was racing in the Lenny Peters Cup in North Carolina. He really does get around, but the last two races that he's done in the World Cup, there's Parsonages. Really like the way he's sculling. Very, very economical at the front end. Nice and easy out. What would you say? He's going over about 35, 36 there, Chris.
Yeah, lightweight sculler. Typically we see with the lightweights, they're really, really efficient. When you've got a little bit less power to play with, you need to be really efficient with how you use it, and using the rate to your advantage as well. You can move up and down the boat without negatively affecting things quite as much.
So I was going to say, Simon van Dorp is the fastest Dutch sculler. He's beat Melvin Teller twice, once at Varese and once on the Bosban last weekend by a couple of seconds. Sculled in one of the greatest races that you'll ever see, the final of the single sculls on the Rotsee last year, where he wore down and down and down the favourite Ollie Zeidler from Germany. Zeidler went on to win the Olympics, but Van Dorp, he couldn't live with him that day, and in trying to live with him, in trying to beat Zeidler in that Olympic final, he had to give up the silver medal, and Juhani Zalati, of the neutral athlete, came through him and he got a bronze medal. But you talk to Simon about that race and he's totally satisfied with what he did. He's a hero to another athlete here, Logan Ulrich, who we saw race in the single sculls, the Kiwi, who is a fellow Washington University, a fellow Husky. And Logan loved talking to Simon. Well, he might be racing him here, I guess. Yeah,
they're on opposite sides of the draw, so if everything were to go their way for both of those scullers, that could be a match-up to look forward to on the Sunday. But a lot of racing still to come.
Diamonds is completely stacked. It's probably the most sensational entry ever for Henley. Simon van Dorp wins that opening heat of the Diamonds. What a great scull by Ben Parsonage.